It was a freezing December night in Buffalo, New York. 20-year-old Amanda Wienckowski stepped out of a friend's house, and into the darkness. She promised to be right back. But Amanda never came home. Days later, her body would be found, frozen, naked, and stuffed upside down inside a garbage can. Before we dive into this disturbing and heartbreaking story, make sure you subscribe to Noir Crime 88, where we bring you real, in-depth true crime stories every second day. Hit that bell icon so you never miss a case that deserves to be remembered. Amanda Wienckowski's story is one that still sends chills through anyone who hears it. It's not just the horror of what happened to her, it's the unanswered questions that continue to haunt her family and the city of Buffalo to this day. Amanda was young, kind, and full of energy. She wasn't perfect, none of us are, but she was trying to rebuild her life, to get back on track after a few rough patches. And then, just when she seemed ready to turn a corner, she disappeared under the most suspicious and tragic circumstances imaginable. This case would expose deep cracks in the justice system, and raise haunting doubts about what really happened to her. Amanda was born in 1988, in Buffalo, New York. She was known for her outgoing personality, her infectious smile, and the kind of warmth that drew people toward her. Growing up, Amanda had big dreams. She wanted to study cosmetology and one day open her own beauty salon. But like many young people, she found herself caught in difficult circles. After high school, Amanda began experimenting with drugs, heroin, in particular. Her family tried to help her, and Amanda herself wanted to change. She entered rehab programs, fought to get clean, and at one point, even became a vocal advocate for others struggling with addiction. By late 2008, it looked like she was finally getting her life back. She'd been clean for several months and was making plans for her future. Her mother, Leslie, said Amanda seemed happy and hopeful again. But no one knew that her final days would unravel so quickly, or so brutally. December 5, 2008, it was a Friday night. Amanda was staying at a friend's house in Buffalo. That evening, she made a call that would change everything. She planned to meet a man named Antoine Odom, a local drug dealer she had known for a while. She told her friend she'd be gone for only a short time. It was around 7:30 p.m. when Amanda walked out into the cold night, wearing a light jacket and jeans. She never came back. Her friends waited for her. Hours passed. Then days. They called her phone repeatedly, but it went straight to voicemail. By December 6, her family knew something was wrong. Amanda had promised to call her mother that weekend, but she never did. Her mother, Leslie, went straight to the police to file a missing persons report. But like too many cases involving young women with a history of drug use, the urgency wasn't there. Police initially suggested Amanda might have run off, or was simply using again. Leslie refused to believe that. She knew her daughter was in trouble. For nearly a month, the search continued, posters, volunteers, desperate pleas on local news channels. But there was no sign of Amanda. Until January 9, 2009. A call came in to Buffalo police that morning. A garbage collector had noticed something strange behind a vacant church on Spring Street. Inside a large, overturned trash can, was a human body. When detectives arrived, what they found would haunt even the most seasoned officers. The body was that of a young woman, naked, frozen solid, and stuffed upside down inside the container. Her long hair was tangled with ice, and her skin was pale and bruised. DNA confirmed what Amanda's mother already feared: the body belonged to Amanda Wienckowski. But something about the scene didn't add up. Amanda's clothes were nowhere to be found. Her body had been washed, clean of dirt, blood, or any sign of a struggle. And the way she was positioned, upside down in a garbage can, didn't seem accidental. Leslie was devastated, but also suspicious. She believed from the very beginning that someone had murdered her daughter, and tried to cover it up. The official story, however, would tell a very different tale. From the moment police identified Amanda's body, her mother, Leslie, demanded answers. But the first official report, the one that was supposed to bring her peace, only deepened the nightmare. The Erie County Medical Examiner ruled Amanda's death as an accidental drug overdose. They claimed she had injected heroin, passed out, and somehow climbed into the garbage can herself before dying. To most people, that explanation made no sense. How could a young woman overdose, strip herself naked, wash her own body, and then crawl upside down into a large garbage bin in the middle of winter? But that's what the official documents said. Case closed, or so the authorities hoped. Leslie refused to accept it. She knew her daughter had been clean for months before her disappearance. Amanda had been proud of it, even posting about it to friends. And if she had used again, why wasn't there any visible sign of injection? Why had her body been cleaned so thoroughly? And why, most of all, was she upside down in a trash can like discarded evidence? Leslie began her own investigation. She hired private investigators, pathologists, and even ordered an independent autopsy. That second autopsy would completely flip the narrative. Dr. Cyril Wecht, one of America's most respected forensic pathologists, reviewed Amanda's body. And what he found was deeply disturbing. He concluded that Amanda did not die from a drug overdose, but rather from asphyxiation. Her neck showed signs of pressure consistent with strangulation, and there were bruises along her shoulders and arms that matched the struggle of someone being held down. Even more alarming, toxicology reports from the independent exam found no lethal dose of heroin in her system. The amount detected was not enough to kill anyone. Dr. Wecht stated publicly. This was not an overdose. This was a homicide. That statement sent shockwaves through Buffalo, and it gave Leslie new strength to demand justice. Investigators soon turned their attention back to the last person known to see Amanda alive, Antoine Odom, the man she had gone to meet that night. Odom was already known to police. He had a long criminal record, including drug charges and assault. Witnesses claimed Amanda had gone to his apartment on Spring Street, the same street where her body would later be found. When questioned, Odom admitted Amanda had been at his place but insisted she left alive. He said she used heroin there, passed out briefly, but then woke up and walked out. But his story didn't sit right with anyone, especially considering Amanda's body was found just yards away from his home, nearly a month later. The garbage can Amanda was found in had been sitting behind a vacant church for weeks. During that time, multiple trash pickups had occurred in the area, yet no one had noticed the smell or the body. Some theorized that Amanda's body hadn't been placed there immediately after her death. That maybe she'd been stored elsewhere, frozen, and later dumped. The condition of her body, frozen solid, with almost no signs of decomposition, supported that theory. If that was true, it meant whoever killed her had kept her body hidden for days, maybe weeks, before placing it behind that church. But despite the mounting inconsistencies, the Buffalo Police Department refused to reopen the case. Leslie became relentless. She gathered evidence, photos, and interviews, anything that could prove her daughter didn't overdose. She contacted reporters, held vigils, and even organized protests outside the police station. Her message was simple. My daughter was murdered. And the killer is still out there. Local journalists began to take interest, revisiting police files and autopsy documents. What they found was chilling. Several pieces of evidence appeared mishandled, including Amanda's clothing, which had gone missing from evidence storage. Even more shocking, there were reports of internal injuries that had never been fully explained. Dr. Wecht confirmed that Amanda had suffered trauma that suggested she had been assaulted before death. Leslie believed Amanda had been attacked, possibly drugged, and then strangled, and that whoever did it had friends or connections powerful enough to silence the truth. As Leslie spoke publicly, more people started asking questions. Why were the police so quick to label it an overdose? Why were the autopsy findings so different between the county and the independent experts? And why was no one charged, even after the new evidence surfaced? The case began to gain traction online, with true crime forums, podcasts, and social media users digging into every detail. Amanda's story wasn't just about one tragedy, it became a symbol of how some victims, especially young women with troubled pasts, are dismissed too easily. The phrase, "Justice for Amanda," began appearing across Buffalo. But for every supporter, there were skeptics who insisted the case was too old, too complicated, that reopening it was a waste of time. Leslie didn't care. She kept pushing forward. To this day, major questions remain. If Amanda overdosed, why was her body washed and stripped? Who placed her upside down in a trash bin, and why? Where was she kept for the 34 days she was missing? And why did the first autopsy ignore clear signs of strangulation? Each unanswered question adds to the suspicion that the truth is far darker than what was officially reported. Years passed, but Leslie Wienckowski never stopped fighting. She turned her grief into determination, a mother against the system. Every interview, every vigil, every court filing was her way of keeping Amanda's name alive. In 2018, nearly a decade after Amanda's death, Leslie pushed again for the case to be re-examined. She sent the autopsy findings and independent reports to anyone who would listen: journalists, lawyers, and even members of Congress. Still, official action was slow. The Buffalo Police Department maintained their stance: no evidence of foul play. To them, Amanda's death was an unfortunate accident, another statistic. But to Leslie, it was proof of how the system often fails women like her daughter, women who are young, vulnerable, and written off too quickly because of past mistakes. Even today, new evidence occasionally surfaces online: witness statements, inconsistencies in police records, and speculation about whether Antoine Odom or someone connected to him played a larger role. Yet despite public pressure, no one has ever been charged. Leslie continues to believe Amanda's case was covered up, not because her daughter's life didn't matter, but because admitting fault would open the door to far too many uncomfortable truths. Amanda's story is more than a mystery. It's a warning about how easily justice can be buried when someone decides a victim isn't worth fighting for. Her case reminds us that not every cold case goes cold because of lack of evidence; sometimes, it's because of lack of effort. And even though more than a decade has passed, the echoes of Amanda's final night still hang in the cold Buffalo air. Somewhere out there, someone knows what really happened, and why a bright young woman was left frozen in a garbage bin, while her mother still waits for answers. If you believe Amanda's story deserves justice, share this video. Keep her name alive. And if you want to hear more true stories like this, real cases, real people, and real heartbreak, make sure to subscribe to Noir Crime 88. We post new true crime stories every second day.